Good morning and happy Monday, everyone. I am so excited for you to be here at the Changebook International Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Harvick, and as you know, every Monday I bring you another amazing co-author. And today is no different. And who I want to introduce to you today is Jennifer Wallace. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I am so excited that you're here. And one of the things I want to know is, why did you pick the Change Book?
Well, actually, the change picked me.
Me too.
Yeah. Just, on social media, sharing my message, about women and healing from toxic relationships. And so just sharing my message, someone reached out to me and was like, hey, how would you like to be part of the change? And first, I had someone reach out to me and I was like, wait a minute, is this really real?
I get that a lot. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
that was my first thought. So yes, I understand that.
Yeah. And so I actually reached out to Jim, and Jim was like, yeah, it's real. This is what we're doing. And it went from there.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you're here. I just think there's a lot of power in sharing our knowledge. Even, some people think, oh, well, these relationships and narcissism, that's so negative. Why do you talk about it? Well, we talk about it to make it okay for everyone to understand and to share and help people learn. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I actually have a coaching business I started in the summer. And what I actually help women do is heal from those toxic relationships, mind, body, and soul, finding, strong boundaries, to follow through and go on. Just healing and, getting their self confidence back and self esteem, because after those type of toxic relationships you feel stuck.
You're speaking just such a huge truth, and I am guessing you probably went through it yourself.
Yes, and it resonates a lot with my story, and I tell it in the chapter, and share some gems in there, what you can do to start having an empowered life and fulfilling life even after those toxic relationships.
Absolutely. And, for me, and I didn't even know it till after the relationship was pretty much 100% over, but narcissistic personality.
Yes.
That's one of those things that can really, you don't even know it at the time, but you can never do anything right. No matter what you do, it's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And that can really suppress you and take you down. How do you talk to the people that you coach? How do you tell them about that and help restructure their lives?
So basically, just telling them about awareness and red flags, the next time they get in a relationship, what to watch out for, subtle hidden signs of manipulation and jealousy and just things, that partner may say, and just staying aware and paying attention, because oftentimes when we get in a relationship, we are overjoyed and happy over that person, and we're not really paying attention to those things. So what I teach them is just having boundaries and having value to themselves and following through on those boundaries. So
And that's so interesting, because you talk about paying attention. And as I look back, there were just red flags waving every which way.
right.
Oh my gosh, the color red was everywhere. But I ignored it. I ignored it. And in looking back, I guess, I don't know if it wasn't, I didn't have respect for myself, or I was just the good times were really good. Bad times are really bad, so you just waited for that good time to roll around, when no one should ever have to go, through being put down or being diminished.
Yes.
And how would you explain to someone what to watch for and why it's so important to recognize it right away?
Yeah, I explained to someone, like, if you're dating someone and in the beginning, just to watch for how they treat others, how they treat you, how they respond to things, their attitude, their temperament. Just watch out for those things, and just take note of it, and pay attention, because sometimes, when you go through that, it goes to another level, especially when we're talking about narcissistic person, so um, and just to be mindful of it, and you know um, pretty much just watch out for the red flags, and
Yeah.
just
Yes.
thinking about myself when I went through those things, that was my mistake, just not paying attention to the red flags and following through and making sure that I protect myself first.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, to protect yourself first.
Yeah.
And when I was going through my divorce, and as I looked back, I had some epiphanies that I always attracted or was attracted to the same type of person, because I'm a healer. And I think I can heal everybody. And there comes a point, like, why would you want to? Some people you can't help unless they help themselves. But one thing I realized is I had to make a big change within me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent a lot of time doing it, a lot of healing. But do you help people understand that sometimes they can be the problem by who they're bringing in based on what's going on inside of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that the work starts with you, your inner work, your confidence, your self care is a big one, you know, um, making sure that your mind and your physical body is good. Um, I do talk to them about self care in one of my programs, just self esteem and valuing yourself. And one of the things that I have a program coming out in February, we talk about is having an oath for yourself, an oath.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
so
that
I'll
a
share that
lot.
with Jim. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I had to do that for myself, when I went through those toxic relationships and trying to heal. And, just starting out in a place of meditation, if that's something you like to do, or prayer work, um, you know, so.
Yeah. And one of the things I think is really important is you bring up self-care.
Hmm.
And sometimes as women, mothers, sisters, friends, we're conditioned to give and give and
Hmm.
give.
Yeah.
And we're considered
Mhm.
selfish if we take time for ourselves,
Mm,
which I've come to learn, and I'm sure you have too. We have to take care of ourselves before we can really be effective with others.
absolutely.
Do
Yes.
you do
Yes.
you teach your clients that's not selfish to take care of yourself?
Right. One of the things I do say is, self care is not selfish, it's a necessity. And you do have to take care of yourself. If it's an hour a day, take out, do something nice for yourself. If it's a walk, or read a book, or watch something funny on TV, just take a moment away. You know, if you're a mother and you
Yes.
have kids, have,
It's exhausting, isn't
it's
it? It can be
exhausting.
really,
I know.
it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
My kids are grown now, but in looking back, it's like sometimes, when you multitask and when you're going 24/7 with your
Yeah.
kids, it's really not the healthiest thing, probably for the kids as well, but not
Hmm.
not for you either, because
Hmm.
you're eating on the run, you're not taking
Hmm.
care of yourself nutritionally, you're up
Mhm,
late, you're not sleeping, and you
mhm,
know, we we really need to look at ourselves and what can I do for me today?
mhm,
And like
mhm.
you said, even if it's just an hour.
Just an hour.
Mhm.
Or 10
Just an
minutes. If
hour.
you have to go hide in the restroom or something, just take that moment and, breathe.
Yeah, and then the dog follows you,
Right, yes.
animals, kids, dogs. Oh my goodness. No, I love that idea. And it really,
Mhm,
really is so important to take care of yourself. And Jennifer, I was going through your bio,
mhm.
and you worked in the marketing and business development before this. Is that correct?
In the insurance industry, actually.
Oh,
And yes,
girl,
I'm
I'm so sorry.
still there, but
Was
it's interesting. Every person is different, every customer is different. the work is different, and sometimes it can be stressful. So I'm used to that environment, for years. Been in kind
Was
of
it
like,
health insurance or what kind of
I
insurance?
did a little bit of health insurance and auto insurance and liability. And now I actually work with agents, helping them with their licensing and staying compliant. So, yeah.
That's smart. But you know what I'm thinking in that business, because it was pretty stressful for me. I was in health insurance for a while, which
Mm,
I hated, I have to tell
yeah.
you. But because of the stress, I would think that would be a great crossover to
Mhm.
have clients working in that industry come to you for their Zen moments.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We can relate, been in that industry for years. So, yeah,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
awesome.
And you're still very calm and and that's
Yes, you have to learn how to be calm under stress.
yeah. And I'm guessing you meditate a lot. You mentioned meditation.
Yeah, I do a lot of mindfulness techniques, just being present in the moment and feeling what I feel and not being judgmental and just breath work, you know.
Yeah, and they say if you control your breath, you can control anything. So I think
hmm
that's, super important in many aspects. But, this says you have multiple startups. Tell me about that.
Right now, it's just the coaching. The multiple
Mhm.
startups, there are some things that I am working on to incorporate into the coaching business, like
Ooh.
self-care products and things. I have not came out with it yet, but
Ooh, that's
there's some things.
exciting.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
give us just a little sneak preview of what you're gonna offer, or is this like
Um,
quiet?
it's kind of quite well. It's
Okay.
just like products that you can take care of yourself at home. Just you could take with you real quick products. Um, That could be anything from bath to massagers, things like that. And I'm going
Mhm.
to be offering it as a product in addition to my coaching
Wow.
business. Yeah.
That's what are you branding yourself and that will be your line?
Yes. Uh huh.
That's
Absolutely.
when can we expect that?
Sometime mid year this year.
Congratulations. That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
One of the things I've used in the past that really
Mhm.
calms me down, do you use essential oils?
Yes, I do. I have them all the time, just steaming and going off in here.
I
Yeah.
I bathe in them, when I'm
Mm.
like having one of those days.
Yes.
And is that one of the tricks for your clients? Because that really calms me down. I never believed in it before.
hmm
And then a couple years ago, I started using it. And it's like,
hmm
oh my gosh, what have I been missing all these years?
Yeah, so I like lavender and just putting a few drops in like a oil scent and just smelling the aroma. It helps you relax too, you know.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And especially with, a bath and oils and just that quiet time,
Yeah.
of being by yourself. Because one of the things I like to talk about is sitting in silence.
hmm
And for me, that has just done wonders. How has it been for you?
Oh, it's been wonders. Sometimes I'll just leave the TV off and just sit there in silence because I just want to meditate and just sit there with my eyes closed and take breath work. If you've had a stressful day, that really, really helps you relax and refocus. So yeah, and a little
Yeah.
bit of essential oil with the scent goes a long way.
It's heavenly, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. It
Yeah.
really is. I love my essential oils, and sometimes
hmm
or if I'm getting sick, I'll rub something
hmm
under here, just
hmm
lift the soil if I need to breathe. And I mean, those are ancient. We've had oils around forever,
Yes.
and everyone thinks it's woo woo,
Mm-mm.
and
It's
I
all
don't like that
genuine.
word. I like
Like
it's
there.
like ancient wisdom, right?
Right. Yeah.
you know People that say that. And I know a lot of what when you talk about in your bio a high stress career,
hmm
what can that be for women? And I know stress can cause trauma,
hmm
and stress can make you sick, right?
Yeah.
How
hmm
do you manage to convey that to people, because some people still have that mentality that I had it for a long time with my kids, is that I multitasked. And
Mhm.
if I wasn't going 15 hours a day, I wasn't effective. How do you, I think it's changed a little, but how do you get that across to your client that it's okay to slow down?
Yes, yeah. Just basically, talking to them and tell them, even on your job, because some people have high stress jobs where they can't leave or take a break. Even on your job, take 5 minutes if it's go to break room or to the restroom, and just take that 5 minutes to yourself and breathe. Close your eyes, take a moment and breathe, and inhale, exhale, and it'll refocus you and rejuvenate you for the day. So yeah, and
Yeah.
that's how I
And
look at it.
I love that. And
Yeah.
one thing I have people do too is I have them do their deep breathing, but I have them blow out with as much sound as they can, because
Hmm.
it just seems to break up, whatever's going on
Releasing.
inside of you.
Hmm.
But it's so funny because they're like, "You mean out loud?" Like if you can.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I
Hmm.
that's just one of my little tools, especially when I'm driving. I,
Yeah.
go see my dad quite often, and he's 2 hours away. And I'm
Hmm.
sure people look over at my car and like, "What is she doing?" But I'm
Hmm.
breathing in and I'm yelling out with
Hmm.
sound. Oh, and you do. It's almost like a stress release, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it is. And even if you're going through stress and, those negative thoughts try to hit your mind, just breathing in and breathing out those negative thoughts and something positive, say something positive, you know. Um, you don't have to speak out loud. You don't have to do it around other people, but, just, saying, hey, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm well, and, you know, and that can make a
Yeah,
big
and we can have conversations with ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I scold myself. I'm like, "No, don't even go there. Don't even start. Just breathe it out, scream it out,
Yeah,
whatever."
whatever works for you. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. And, I know you help women reclaim their power too.
Mhm.
How do we lose power?
Oh, just like some of the things we talked about in the beginning, just not being mindful of it, mindful of the things that take us away from having our power. The stressors, the toxicity, if you're dealing with that, stress. That's how we lose it, just not being mindful of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and once you lose it,
Hmm.
I don't know, for me, I felt there was a time when I felt really limited when
Hmm.
I lost that. How do you I know you've given a lot of examples, but I've also come up against people that are very resistant to
Hmm.
things. And I
Hmm.
think it's so important, and I would love to know what you think on this. People have to want to change.
Hmm.
People have to be committed, but also people, even if you weren't the one that cheated in a relationship, you weren't the one that lied, there's always two sides.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying right or wrong, but a lot of people that I've come up with, that they're like, I didn't do anything wrong, why should I
Mhm.
take any responsibility for this? But
Right.
I'm just wondering, I mean, as I look, that was how I was at first, but then I started looking back, I'm like, ooh, you could have done that a little better, or you
Mhm.
could have done this.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you help people understand that there's two people in a relationship, or what, even if it's a boss
Mhm.
relationship? How do
Yeah.
you get them to understand that, there's two sides to every story?
Just having a conversation with them and then letting them know, although, that toxic relationship you were in and that person may have did you wrong, that, even though we think we're not at fault, we do in some way play a part in it, and it has something to do with your inner self and your work and, you know, again, back to boundaries and what we will accept and not accept. And,
Yes.
we have to look at that too. And how did we get here, in the first place? And we have to think
Absolutely. And
back.
it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. It is hard. Been
It
there.
really is.
Yeah.
That
Looking at
that
yourself.
mirror work, looking at
Yeah.
yourself and
In the
and
mirror.
pointing a finger this way
Mhm.
for once is
Mhm.
really hard, isn't
Yeah.
it?
asking yourself the whys. Why did I let that happen? You know, how did I get here?
Why am I looking at myself now?
Yeah.
But it's really true. And, for me, as I reflect back to everything I went, and this was, over 10 years ago, but I'm still healing. I'm still a work
Mhm.
in progress.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think we always will be.
Yeah.
But I look back and when I realized that, I reframed it. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me.
There you go.
And that's a lot of work to get there.
hmm
But it's like when you get there, you kind of feel like, I did
Kind of,
good. I
you
did
have
okay.
to. You have to celebrate yourself. Yes, and that's another thing too. I teach you have to celebrate the little wins, even if it doesn't feel important. You have to celebrate yourself. When I was going through my toxic relationships, and I finally got over that and started to heal, I had to celebrate myself. Look at where I came from till now, and do something
Sitting
for
here on
yourself.
a podcast as a coach,
Yes, I'm
how
like, oh
great
my
is
gosh,
that?
yeah, this is
That's
awesome.
amazing.
I
And
never thought a year from now I'd be sitting here on a podcast.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad you are. You've got so many great tips and everything. But like when you talk about celebrate, everyone thinks of a huge celebration, but it doesn't have to be huge, does it?
No, not at all. Just small wins equal big gains, you know? Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I
I'm a
love
witness
that.
to it. Yeah.
You're speaking your truth, aren't
Yes,
you?
ma'am.
Wow, I
Yeah.
love that. So as a coach, could someone just reward themselves every day, like for a positive thought?
Yeah, that's a great ideal. Rewarding yourself, the little things count. Far as if you want to go buy you a nice outfit for the day and just dress up and look nice. That's all it takes for you. Do it. Do it. You
Mhm.
know, make
So basically go with whatever your heart is telling you.
telling you that will make you happy.
Yay.
Yeah, one
When
of the
and
things that I did when I was going through this, along with meditation, I created a joy list. And
ooh,
a joy list is just listen, it could be like 5 things, 5 to 10 things. What do I want to do? What makes me happy if I did these things? How can I do? And there are things within reason that you can do. And you just write them on a list and you start from number one and go on down. But you do it every day and you make yourself accountable to do it so that you can feel the joy come from it and you can celebrate yourself. So
that's a great idea. And what about gratitude?
gratitude. Oh, having just being grateful and blessed that you're here, that where you're at is enough. Sometimes we want to be far off than, where we're actually at. And it's okay to start where you're at, work from there. And, just being grateful for those things and, giving back too, and paying it forward when you learn something and you heal from it.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest lessons I learned, and this is with my ex, is he didn't love himself. And I didn't even know I could love myself until I
Mhm.
started that forgiveness process. But as I did my research and as I meditated and was told that, and we know this, whatever you give out comes back, and that's just the
Mhm.
law of
Yeah,
karma. And
sure.
I thought, well, I don't want crappy stuff to come back to me. So I started sending love to my ex, and I do that because he truly doesn't, I don't feel like he ever loved himself enough.
Mm,
And when you don't love yourself, you really can't love maybe correctly.
that's true.
And so I just started sending it out, and I thought, but that's what I want back. I want
Mhm.
back positivity. I've had enough of the negative.
Mhm.
I want positive things to come back to me.
Mhm. Yeah,
So do you do that as well?
I do that. Just sending positive vibes out there. I no longer have, connections with those toxic people, but just, going forward, positive vibes and sending love and gratitude to others and supporting others. Sometimes just, servicing others will
Ooh,
help you.
I
through
think
the
that's
process.
super important that you brought that up. I really do, because I always told my kids, kindness is free.
Mhm,
Kindness is free. And so I said, it doesn't matter what it is, that you can hold a door open. And
mhm.
my daughter's 22 now. And about a couple months ago, she goes, Mom, she goes, there was this lady, an older lady at Costco, and I helped her load her groceries into her car. I
Okay.
said, see, and she goes, Mom, she was so happy.
Mhm. Yeah,
And that made my daughter feel good. And that's
priceless.
really
Mhm.
easy.
Priceless. Yeah, it makes others feel good, and
Absolutely.
you get the reward of feeling like, "Oh, I really helped that person." Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And I'll never forget the time she held the door open for someone. And I guess it was a crotchety older person. And they didn't say thank you. And I
Mhm,
said, but here's the thing,
mhm,
that's about them. That's
mhm,
about them. It's not about you. Keep
mhm.
doing what you're doing.
That's right. True,
Keep doing what you're doing. And
true.
so she's like my one, always looking, okay, who can I help? Who can I help?
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's
But
awesome.
both of them, I did make them, both girls had to volunteer when they were younger,
Yeah,
just to see the other side of the world,
yeah.
what some people don't have as much as we had. And I said, and I want you to be very cognizant of that and
Mhm,
aware of that how blessed we are, and practice that gratitude. So
mhm,
their whole lives, they've really looked around, and they're the champion for others. So
mhm,
I like that part. And I think when you do that, you do have gratitude in your
mhm.
life.
You
Just
do.
even if it's just a little, a kind word to someone.
Yeah, yeah. A kind word, kind gesture, a kind act. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know we're getting towards the end
yeah.
of our
Wow,
interview, but
already.
it's fast. It's so fast. And it's so
Mhm.
fun. But I want you to give our audience some great nuggets to take with them.
Okay. Well, one of the things is, to come out anything toxic. It doesn't have to be a toxic relationship. I kind of wrote some down. Is just to recognize, set, rebuild, create, and embrace. So those
Ooh.
things there, just to start there, and just to reframe your mind, when you've been through something toxic, and put that positive back in there. And then, like we talked about today, gratitude and showing it acts of service and paying it forward. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but that's a lot. And when you call it pretty much it, that can everything you mentioned can and
Mhm.
will change your life.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And
It's changed
and
mine.
and yeah, mine as well, mine too.
Yeah,
And you think some people say, well, why am I giving? I'm not getting anything back, but you are.
you are.
You're getting
Yeah,
a lot back,
yeah, definitely.
and I just, and the angry people, or the ones that know nothing good ever happens to me. Well, maybe you're not giving out your good.
Hmm. Just go do
And
some
so
some type of act of service. Just go do it.
I
Yes.
agree. I agree. Well, you have been a wonderful guest. I've learned so much from you today, and I love hearing positive from you. This is such a great way to start my morning, because now I can go do my other chores.
Oh,
And,
awesome.
I've got a lot to do today. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a difference. Maybe I let someone go ahead of me in the postal line. I don't know. But
Right?
there's all kinds of little things you can do. So to
Yeah.
our audience watching and who will watch, I want you to reach out to Jennifer. She has given us so many great tips today. And I, for one, am taking it all with me. This is amazing, amazing information. And I wish everyone could have that mindset like you, because it would really be a much nicer world.
Oh, thank you.
So, well, thank you for being on today. I
Yeah,
appreciate you being here. I'm
thank you.
happy you're part of the Change book. And I know we will talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank,
day.
thank you so much. Bye bye.